Hello YouTube and welcome to today's Gems of War video. In this video I have for you my scouting report for Karakoth week, which will begin March 25th, 2024. Scouting reports always come out 1 week earlier than the week begins. That way, if there's anything that you need to temper, any troops that you need to level up, trait, etc., you got 1 week to do it. All right, let's talk about Karakoth. Karakoth is just southeast of Broken Spire, kind of close to the center of the map. Karakoth is one of the four kingdoms I like to call the magic squared kingdoms, because you need magic deeds and books to level Karakoth up past level 10, but Karakoth will also give you a magic skill bonus for leveling up the kingdom level and increasing the kingdom power. So, Karakoth, is it the one that you want to take to level 20? Because these magic deeds and books do not grow on trees. Well, overall, I would say that of the four, there are two that I would recommend above Karakoth, generally speaking. First, I would recommend that you consider Darkstone, since Darkstone has a maximum power of 30, so that means you can get the maximum possible magic bonus from Darkstone, but you cannot get it from any of the other magic squared kingdoms. And I would also suggest that you consider Blighted Lands over Karakoth, because Blighted Lands has a particularly nasty faction, which I think will benefit from level 17 and level 19, increasing the faction horde stats by a sum of 50%. So I don't know if Dorgroth is going to need that as much as the Fel Roost does, because I haven't really gone as far in Dorgroth as I have in Fel Roost. I'm going to pronounce this as best as I can, but that faction name is very difficult. But anyway, I would suggest that you go for those two kingdoms first, and then go for Karakoth after those two kingdoms are done. But you could go, the only other reason that you might consider going for Karakoth is if you really like this kingdom team bonus at level 18. But yeah, overall, it's better to go for Darkstone and Blighted Lands as far as leveling up to 15. As far as the kingdom power goes, the maximum power for Karakoth is 27. Once we factor in the new weapon, the maximum power will go up to 28. So not to level 30 just yet, and probably not going up to level 30 anytime soon. But let's go ahead and talk about the Core 4 and the 4 more teams. So the Core 4 team is always the team that is currently the Epic Trials team, and I've ordered these troops in the order that I did the Epic Trials last time, and I think there's only been one time that we've had this. But the important thing to keep in mind is that there are two troops that really don't matter too much, and there's two troops that are going to do the lion's share of the workload for you. So let's talk about the two that matter. Hellspawn is an ultra rare assassin. It does a certain amount of damage to an enemy and diseases them, and does triple damage if they have a death mark. So you might be wondering, how do I get a death mark on a troop on the other side? Well, that's where Uvashka comes into play. Uvashka converts all purple gems to Doom Skulls if there's an Eldritch minion on my team, which there may be. You can create 3 more Doom Skulls, then summon an Eldritch minion. That doesn't create any death marks, but Malade Curse does. There's an independent 25% chance to inflict curse or death mark on a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. So if you're matching 4 or more gems and Uvashka death marks one of the demons on the other side, that's when you know to unleash Hellspawn on it as fast as you possibly can, so that he can make the best use of that triple damage bonus. Now, as far as the other two, the Amethyst Giant does a certain amount of damage to an enemy, then converts 5 yellow gems to purple giant gems, and it also creates a purple giant gem when he takes skull damage. Overall, purple, as good as it is for Karakoth, is not very good for this particular team. I certainly would rather have yellow available for Hellspawn than purple available for these two. But we'll talk about the Eldritch Disciple as well. Eldritch Disciple creates 5 purple dragon gems, boosted by ally and enemy demons. Well, 3 of your allies are demons, and all of your enemies are demons. So that is a pretty good boost. But even then, it's probably just going to create a lot of purple. It's really only useful for these two, but it's very much useful for the troops on the other side. So you're probably not going to want to use this that much. You're probably just going to want to fill it up and then just leave it there. Now, as far as the Uvashka summoning an Eldritch Minion, again, the Eldritch Minion really won't help your Epic Trials team that much. Converts all brown gems to purple. Again, I'd rather have brown than purple. And then if the enemy is cursed, gain half my mana back. Starts battles with full mana. Yay. It's a good troop, don't get me wrong, but it's not a good troop for this particular team. So for the most part, you're just going to wait for the Amethyst Giants to go away. Then you use Uvashka to summon the Eldritch Minion to the first place and continue on. You don't have to put anything below Hellspawn or Uvashka because the enemies on the other side do not have a fixed target on the bottom of your team. They can choose whoever they want, so you might as well just put them near the bottom so they have the most possible skull defense. And that's pretty much what you're using these first two for as well. So that's the core 4. Good luck with the Epic Trials if you still need to get that Starry Pet. But let's talk about the 4 more. I talked a little bit about the Eldritch Minion. I still think it's worth leveling up and trading because it has that empowered trait, which I really like. And it is good on other Karakoth teams, just not the one we're talking about. But the Sacrificial Priest, even though it's not a demon, is a must-have, in my opinion, particularly if you like using soul farming team. Because Sacrificial Priest sacrifices an ally, deals 12 scatter damage boosted by the sacrificed ally's attack at a 1-to-1 ratio, and has a 30% chance to summon in Borth. It starts battles with 50% mana and gains 50% bonus souls from battle. The most important thing about soul farming teams is knowing that the bonus souls that you get are going to be determined by the troops that you have at the beginning of battle, not the troops that you finish with. So if you have a troop on this team that has a relatively high attack value, you can use the Sacrificial Priest to summon that, sacrifice that ally, do a lot of damage to the other side, and as long as you're doing something reasonable like Explore 1 or 2, you should be able to get through this no problem whatsoever. And so overall, a soul farming team is going to be Sacrificial Priest, Pharaoh's Raw if you have it, your hero if you want to use your hero, and everyone else needs to just have that Necromancy trade. So let's talk a little bit about Medea. Medea, again, not a demon, so not useful in the class trials, but Medea is very useful in Mystic troops, in Mystic teams. She deals a certain amount of damage to all enemies, which is good, enchants all allied demons, which is also still good. Good in specific Karakoth teams, just know that she does not count as a demon. She also barriers all ally mystics, which include herself. She also gives all mystics, including herself, 1 magic for all 4 or 5 gem matches. This is a pretty good troop to have for any mystic team, as long as you can use a mystic from Karakoth. So, but keep in mind that she is legendary, so you will have to. It's not going to be the easiest troop to get from the event key drop table, but it's worth getting from the event keys if you don't have her. Same thing with the sacrificial priest. Now we talk about the mythic, and with the mythic for Karakoth, I feel like there's really only one troop that is worth mentioning, and that is Zul'Goth. Zul'Goth is a boss assassin, and you can get this troop at any time using Soulforge. You do need to have 8, count them, 8 orbs of power, but the spell is very useful, kills an enemy, burns and freezes all remaining enemies, then creates 12 skulls, plus he gains 5 to all of his skill points when matching skulls. For the most part, the magic isn't going to matter to him, but adding to his attack can be pretty useful. I see him all the time in PvP when he is selectable. So overall, if you're looking at trying to get a mythic for Karakoth just to increase your power, Zul'Goth might be the way to go as far as saving up for him. That way you can use your diamonds to save up for someone else where you don't have a boss available. But if I am just restricting myself just to the 3 base level mythics that you can get from the Soulforge when they are available, even though it's not the one I have, I might suggest that you get Vash Dagon. Vash Dagon can devour an enemy, then summon a daemon if the ally is devoured, which is you're basically just recycling your allied troops, and then does true scatter damage boosted by his life. And keep in mind that if he just devoured someone, he just got all of the remainder of their life added to his life. So that number can get up pretty high, but the boost ratio is 3-to-1. So it's not necessarily a must-have, but it is still a pretty good troop if you can get them. The other 2 are okay as well. I might put the Deathlock Draylock above the Elder Dragon, but overall, just get the Zul'Goth. Get the Zul'Goth. So anyway, let's talk about weapons, because there's actually not too many weapons in Karakoth. There's only 13. We'll be adding one during the Karakoth week, which is what's going to increase the maximum power. So if you're looking at this for a power level 30 down the road, you're pretty much looking at getting all of these weapons. And I mean all of these weapons. But if you're on a budget and you can't get all of these weapons during Karakoth week, which ones are the ones to go for? There's actually quite a few that are pretty good. The Infernal Volge is one that I would particularly recommend. Put the right thing up. Does a certain amount of damage to an enemy boosted by demon allies, then creates a mix of 6 red and purple gems for each demon ally. Gives all purple allies 2 mana when you swing it. Pretty good weapon. I would definitely go for this one first. You can also go for the Old Magus' Staff. The Old Magus' Staff explodes a bunch of purple gems, grants a random status effect to all Karakoth allies, then summons a Karakoth troop. We see weapons like this all the time. These are weapons that you absolutely want to get, particularly if you have a lot of Karakoth troops leveled and traded. And I also suggest the Staff of the Other Worlds. Staff of Other Worlds deals a certain amount of damage to an enemy boosted by Karakoth allies, and then creates a mix of 6 purple and brown gems for each Karakoth ally. The upgrades aren't that great, but they can be somewhat useful. But it's a good one to get. And then the 4th one I'm going to recommend is the Grasping Grimoire. Grasping Grimoire deals a certain amount of damage to an enemy boosted by Mystic allies, and creates a mix of 6 yellow and purple gems for each Mystic ally. So going a little bit against the main troop type for Karakoth, but this is still a very good one. It does steal one magic from the first enemy, which can be good or blah, depending on depending on what you're doing. But it can be it's definitely something to consider if you happen to have the resources for it. Okay, faction weapon. This is the weapon that's going to be available in the Soul Forge and in the store on Tuesday, and it is Memories of Stone, which drains 2 mana from all enemies boosted by stone blocks at a boost ratio of 1-to-1. It also destroys a certain amount of gems of a chosen color, making it a really good mana generating weapon. It has the upgrade that I like to call the Frogify upgrade, which has a 10% chance to transform the first enemy into a giant toad, which I don't believe I've ever seen work, but it might work and it might help. But it's a good weapon. It's not a must-have weapon, but it's a good weapon. So I would recommend that you keep your eyes out for this on Tuesday during Karakoth week. The class weapon for getting 250 wins in the Sorcerer class, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, is this weapon, Daemonomicon, which all it does is it summons a random demon to your team. Good if you have the Sacrificial Priest knocking out allies left and right, or Vashtagan knocking out allies left and right. You can just put this weapon in your team, and then you can just summon more demons. You might not get demons from Karakoth. It's fine. There are better demons in other kingdoms, like Blighted Lands, but it's a pretty good weapon. I would highly recommend that you make sure that you get this weapon, and you might as well just temper it up. Who knows? Maybe you might get to turn one of your enemies into a giant fruit. There is only one cursed weapon in Karakoth, and it's really not a weapon that you need to be concerned about. This particular weapon doesn't really see a lot of use. It's really a weapon that you would temper just to get Karakoth's maximum power up. There's just a whole lot more doomed weapons that are more useful than this one. So I would leave this one alone unless you have a lot of Soul Forge ingredients to spare. All right, Sorcerer class. Sorcerer class is a pretty good purple mana class. It does turn you into a demon, but it also in the traits that you get at the very beginning, the very first one gains you bonus purple mana from purple gem matches. You don't usually see the links on the traits. You usually see them over in the talent trees. So it's good to get this one right away because you get some more. And the talent trees are okay. You can get a purple storm. You can also get a bone storm if you want to go that way. Overall, not a bad class. So I wouldn't necessarily sleep on it, although I certainly have. But let's talk a little bit about the pets real quick. So the Kingdom Boost pet is the Slime Ball. So you'll get your chance to max out the Starry Slime Ball by doing the Epic Trials, and there are some other troops other pets that are worth thinking about. The Magitant is a PvP pet that boosts your demon teams in that particular region. You also have the Islet, which boosts your mystic teams. And you also have the Puddling pet, which boosts your Earth Gem Mastery. And your faction pet for Dorgroth is, let's see if I can pronounce this correctly, Mephistopheles. That's close enough. If I didn't get it right, that's close enough. All right, let's talk about the faction real quick before I have to think about that name again. So Dorgroth is kind of in the center of the map. It is kind of northwest from that big volcano. So it's a restriction for that. I believe it is brown purple. So a decent one. It's not something you'll be able to use Tesla for, but you'll be able to come up with something. Now, as far as the legendary that's available in Dorgroth, Nyarmel does a certain amount of true heavy splash damage to an enemy, boosted by stone blocks at a ratio of ×6. Explodes all stone blocks, then creates 3 stone blocks. So this is and the psychic backlash, I've seen this happen on my teams. It's kind of annoying. It stuns a random enemy when an enemy casts a spell. So when this is on the other side, you can see all your traits just getting lined out one after another. So yeah, this is kind of an annoying troop to go off against, but it can be a pretty good troop to help you with Karakoth week, keeping in mind that he does count as a demon, so you can use him in the class trials, you can use him in Under Inspire, you can use him almost just about anywhere, probably. There is one last thing to talk about, and it's something that I don't really have as much information as I normally would, and that is the Journey event. The Journey event will be the event for the guilds. There's incomplete information available right now about the Pathfinder troop that will be available, so I can't really give you any guidance in terms of what teams you can make. All I can say is that this could be good information. This could be good news for us. It might not be good news, but it could be good news because there's a possibility that the developers are looking at the Pathfinder troop and maybe looking in a different direction than where we've been going with the Pathfinder troops up to this point. Because after the nerf, the Pathfinder troops really aren't that powerful anymore. And certainly you can't get as far in Journey as you used to be able to. I've heard people complain about that the developers are not taking into account how much we want to play the game. Keep in mind that the developers really care about one thing. They care about how much money we're going to give them. They don't care about how fun the game is. They care about how much money we're going to give them. So just keep that in mind. If it's too hard, if it's not worth it to your guild, then I don't know. Take a pass on Journey Week. If you vote with your wallet, that type of thing. Don't just say, well, this is going to be hard. Let's make everyone pay up to tier 6. That might send the wrong message to the developer. If you are unsatisfied with how the journey is going, but who knows? Maybe things will go better this time. And with that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like. Subscribe to his channel and or follow me on Twitch if you'd like to see more. And in the comments below, let me know what you think of Karakoth Week. Let me know how you think I should pronounce Dorgroth, or any of the other things I probably mispronounced. And I'll see you in the next